So this is the dual boiler coffee machine in question. The fault, well, it actually is still working, so I can make a cup of coffee out of it. I can still get steam coming out of the steam wand. So for all intents and purposes, it's still working, apart from after the power's been on for a while. So say 5 minutes, 5, 6, 7 minutes, this surface here, it would normally just get warm, but you could still put your hand on it. But it is searing hot. I mean, you would burn your hand if you touched it. So that is not right. It's obviously dangerous anyway. Even though it's still working, it needs looking at because things could escalate. So that's the fault that this has got. And if this is the fault that you've got on your machine or on your Breville Dual Boiler coffee machines, please follow this video and hopefully I can save you some money and repair it at minimal cost. So first thing, remove the drip tray and the water tank from the rear of the machine. Okay, as you can see, I've tilted the coffee machine onto its back so I can get two of the screws to start removing the top cover. I'll just take a little close up of the information plate. So that's a model of this particular machine. And the two screws holding the cover on are in this deep recess here. So you need a Phillips screwdriver to get in there. Quite a long one. You can remove that one. And there's one on the other side in that hole as well. That's recess as well. So you need a long Phillips screwdriver to remove those two screws. The other two screws you need to remove to enable you to get the top cover off are these two screws in the corner. So one where you can see this Torx driver. Yeah, they're actually Torx screws. So there's one there and one there. If you take them out, then you should be able to prise the lid off on top cover. If you want to take this panel off, just slide out or remove your water tray is probably better. There are two Phillips screws there, and you can remove that if you want better access to work on the repair. But you could do it all just by getting the top cover off. So once all the screws are out, you can give a gentle tap onto this lid here to try and loosen it from the top, as you can see, or you can give it a little bit of gentle persuasion with a flat-headed screwdriver around the edge. Try and be careful not to scrape the paintwork. So that should then come off. So I take the cover off. It's still connected to some components. There's a control board, and immediately you can see like a white coating on the lid. That's not right. And that's the inside of the top, which looks a bit complicated, and well, it probably is. But for this particular repair, it isn't that complicated. It's fairly straightforward in a way. So first thing is a visual inspection. Okay, I opened this machine a few days ago before I started making these videos. And the first thing I saw, apart from the white coating on the inside of that cover, was that the inside of the machine was, it wouldn't say saturated, but there was a lot of water, condensation on the sides, around most of the parts, on these pipes, on the surface, underneath of that lid. I mean, there shouldn't be water like that. It should be dry. It gets very warm when it's in use, but you shouldn't have any water there. So something is not right. And the next step I advise you to do, at your own risk, is to use or switch on this machine with the lid off. It obviously comes with risks. So if you've got any pets or small children, it's best to do this when they're not in a room. So I'm going to just plug it in and I'll show you the next step. just before I turn the power onto the machine, I'll just give a quick explanation of what the dual boilers are. So this particular component here, that is one of the boilers, and that's the other one over there. They look very similar. This one, this heats the water to whatever temperature is set on your front control panel. That's normally, you probably won't adjust that very often. I think it's preset to about 93 or 94 degrees, but you can alter it to your taste. And that will control the temperature that the water heats to inside this heater. So think of it as a small kettle. And then that water will eventually come out of the main outlet here to make your espresso. The other heater, this produces a steam, which will eventually come out of your steam wand here. And to produce a steam, well, this gets hotter. I haven't measured the temperature, but I'm guessing it gets to 120, 130 degrees. So this heater will get hotter than this one. So I would expect more issues in the long term on this side of the machine regarding this heater because of the thermal stress and the heat involved. So this is ready to switch on, and we'll do a visual inspection as it heats up. So I fill the water tank up and replace that into the rear of the machine. I'll leave the drip tray off for the time being because you're not going to make any coffee yet, but hopefully soon after the repair. So let me switch it on. And as you notice, it'll start heating up and make a few weird noises. And we'll give it a few minutes and then we'll have another little look at it. Okay, we're about 3 minutes in, and I've lowered the preset temperature on this to 86. I say it's normally higher at the moment. Right, now you can see an issue. If you look at this heater here, there is water, it's steam escaping from two probes, the one with a red cable on and then one with a blue cable on. I don't know how easy that is to see on the video. Yes, definitely steam escaping, and if the lid was on, that would just collect on the lid, and that is what has been happening. So there's an issue with those two probes. I think the one on the left is possibly okay. It's a little bit difficult when you've got steam coming out because it tends to look as if it's coming from different areas. So that is not right. That needs sorting. I'll switch it off while I'm talking. Right, so I turned it off. It takes ages to cool down because you know, that's about 130 degrees centigrade, that heater, that boiler. So that's going to take a good hour to cool down before we can work on it safely. So there's an issue with those probes leaking. Now, even though this machine would produce a cup of coffee now and you could froth your milk with a steamer, you could be tempted to carry on using it. But I've found stories on the internet of people have said the components, well, water and electrics aren't a good mix anyway. If you notice on the lid, there's a control board there, which is going to be sitting right above that steam escaping, and that could get damaged because there are electrical components on there. So that's gonna be expensive to repair. And another issue I've read about is it'll trip your house electrics out, it'll trip your RCD, which isn't happening yet on this machine, but it needs looking at and investigation. So I'm going to unplug it from the mains to make it safe, and we'll leave it cool down I would say for a good hour or so, so we can work on it and have a look at those probes. So now the coffee machine is cooled down and it's disconnected from the electric, so it's safe to work on. So I'm going to remove, I think, which is the easiest one to see. I'm going to remove the one with the blue cable on. So there's three probes here. This one with the earth cable on, this one with the blue cable, and this one with the red cable. If you're going to start working on your own machine or someone else's to repair, you can take a photo or a video with your phone so you know where these cables go back and what colour and what positions. So I'll pull this little spade connection off, just firmly grab this, slide it off and put it to one side. Then you have a clip which is holding the probe in place, so you can either use a small pliers or a little screwdriver. I'm going to put a little screwdriver in here and just tease it out just a little. So while the clip is almost out, you can either remove it with pliers or use your fingers just to help at the last bit and put it somewhere safe. Now the probe is ready to come out, so just grab the top of it, gently wiggle it, and out it comes. So these are the three probes which I've removed, and two on the left look the same length. The one on the right is a shorter one. I'm not quite sure what they do. It doesn't really matter at this stage because we've just got a mechanical fault where the steam is bypassing the O-rings. So like I said, you can purchase these as a kit, the three together, which will come with these blue O-rings, which they may have changed colour now. I think they've upgraded them, possibly black. And when they arrive, I can take a video and show you again. And obviously the internal O-ring, which you can't see, that'll be new as well. So it's just a waiting game for those to be delivered, and then we'll carry on. So the new probes have arrived. As you can see, they've got black O-rings. They've changed the colour, they've upgraded them for whatever reason, but they're still the same size and they do the same job, which is sealing the steam and hopefully stop it from escaping. So let's crack on and put these in. And just a tip here, before you fit your new probes, what you want is to clean the area where the probes sit. So these three probe holes you can see are quite corroded. Obviously the steam has been bypassing, so it's a little bit rusty, but a lime scale possibly. So I would suggest using something sharp, like a very small terminal screwdriver or a sharp knife. Try and scrape as much of this residue off. I'd use a cloth or some kitchen roll to clean it. And when it's spotlessly clean and dry, then hopefully that'll be ready for the new probes to be fitted. So with a screwdriver, flat screwdriver, you just scrape around this part. This is where that blue O-ring will seat on that base there. But it's a good idea to clean this surface as well, so this shoulder, give it a good clean all on the inside there. If you don't clean it, you may find it's quite tight to to replace a new probe. So that's nice and clean in there. Same for these 3 holes. Try and get as good as new, and then that will be ready to accept the new probe. So other problem areas on this heater could be around this part here and here as well. So if you see steam leaking from either of those two, underneath these components, this one and that one, there are 2 red O-rings, and they come in a kit along with the blue O-rings which I had. So you can just replace the red O-rings, refit the components, clean the areas up before refit them. Hopefully that will stop any leaks from there and there. And they got clips on them, so they're the same clips that are on the probes. So it's the same method to remove. So I've fitted the 3 new probes. They seemed a little tight going in. I just gently pushed on the ceramic. Be very, very careful. You don't want to push too hard in case you damage them. So just push them down until they're seated. Then you can put the clips in like I've done. And then put the cables back on. And then when you're happy, you can switch on and see if you've got any steam leaking. Okay, so this machine has been on for about 10 minutes. And it's all looking good. No steam visible. No noises. Temperature's up right. And it looks absolutely spot on. So I think this is good to go. I mean, I can't see anything. I can't feel any. You obviously would feel the steam if it was coming off above the heaters if you put a hand there. Or you could put some form of clear plastic, which I tried already. If you hold that over the top of each heater for a while, if it was steam, you'd see it condensing almost immediately underneath the clear plastic, and there is nothing whatsoever on there. So it looks like spending a minimal amount of money replacing those 3 probes. Say those 3 probes were just over £30 in the UK. I'll put some links on so you can click on that. So to fix the steam leak, I've used 3 new probes. I had originally bought a packet of O-rings on the bottom there, which I think that contained 5 blue O-rings and about 12 of the small red O-rings. Unknown to me, I didn't need to buy that packet actually, because buying the 3 probes came with the upgraded O-rings, which are now black anyway. So 3 probes were just over £30 in the UK, and a packet of O-rings was under £10. And I'll put the links on at the end of the short video, so you can click on them, save you searching, and hopefully you can get your coffee machine up and running. So hopefully you can get back to enjoying your daily cups of coffee as soon as possible. So thanks for watching. Cheers.